The following is a presentation of the St. Louis Chess Club. Things are winding down at the FIDE candidates in beautiful Cyprus. A draw was enough in the penultimate round to secure Javokhir Sindarov as the champion of the 2026 FIDE candidates. The battle for second place begins with Anish Giri sitting at the top with a full-point lead. Day 14 of first-rate chess. Coming up next.
Hello chess fans and welcome to the official hotel of the FIDE Candidates Tournament. We've reached the final round of the event, and in the open section the main question has been answered. Javokhir Sindarov clinched the victory, 1 round to spare, and secured his place in the FIDE World Championship match against Gukesh. So let's turn all our eyes to the women's section, where nothing is still clear. 6 players have theoretical chances to win the tournament. Bibisara Subaeva and Vaishali are leading right now, but with so many rivals, everything is still possible. So let's go to the studio and follow the action.
Hello everyone and welcome to the final day of the candidates. I'm your host, Nazi Paikidze, and I'm here with the one and only Yasser Seirawan.
Nazi, I can't believe things are coming to a close. It's been
Unfortunately, everything has to end.
terrible. Hello everyone and welcome to our show. Indeed, as you've heard, we have crowned a champion and we're waiting to determine who is going to win the ladies, and it's really quite wide open. Nazi, do the honors and tell us the standings. Let's begin with the open section.
Let's have a look. Yes, sir. As everybody already knows, Javokhir Sindarov won the candidates yesterday with the round to spare. Anish Giri is in clear second. He's still playing his game. Right now, as you can see, Hikaru and Wei Yi already have drawn their game. So at the moment, Wei Yi is in clear third. But Fabiano could catch or overtake him.
And then the craziest of tournaments, the ladies.
Absolutely, where nothing is decided yet.
It is amazing. Look at that.
Currently, tied for first are 2 players, Vaishali and Bibisara Asubaeva. Zhuzhiner in clear third. But even the players who are sharing fourth have a theoretical chance today to fight for first.
Absolutely. And once again, congratulations to our winner. Wow, Sindarov, just amazing.
Absolutely, the youngest player in the tournament wins the candidates with the round to spare and takes home 170,000 euros.
Yeah. And just to remind everybody, tournament performance rating was the highest ever recorded in our modern chess.
I believe highest score ever in the candidates.
Wow. Just the accolades just keep rolling in. And again, congratulations indeed. Tell us about today's pairings.
Absolutely. In the open, we do already have 2 results. Javokhir Sindarov and Wei Yi have drawn their game, and so have Prag and Hikaru. But 2 games still going on. It's Esipenko against Fabiano Caruana and Blübaum against Anish Giri.
Still a big fight for second going on there. And Miro, in that fight for second, who has the advantage?
All right, let's check on those games in the open section that have finished. That's what we'll do first. Then I'll tell you a little bit about Fabi's and Anish's game. And I'd like to talk about one very intriguing scenario in the ladies. But first to finish after, I believe, 15 minutes of play or so was Javokhir Sindarov with the white pieces against Wei Yi. As you can tell, symmetrical position. Bishop sanding, so it came about after 4 knights opening, bishop b5, knight d4. And knight d4 is supposed to be a fighting move, so-called Rubinstein variation. It's a very old line, but still very playable. However, when you already won the tournament and you're happy with the draw, you can always do this. Knight takes, pawn takes e5. Black has to take, white takes on f6. Now it's very dangerous to try to win the pawn by taking on d2. So queen f6, dc3, and this position very quickly gets absolutely sterile. Something like that. Yes, c4, and here you have it, all symmetrical. They've traded the rooks, they've traded one set of bishops, and a draw was agreed very, very quickly. And the second result that we have is Praggnanandhaa against Hikaru Nakamura. And here Hikaru repeated the line that brought him a draw against Sindarov, the weird hybrid h6 in the Catalan, right? Pragg opted for knight e5, which was like a new compared to Sindarov's castle, but Hikaru seemingly was well prepared. That's an unorthodox position, I have to say, but after c5, e5 breakthrough probably brings black equal chances. At least computer's very happy with Hikaru's choices, and later on he has proven that black's counterplay was enough. So we do have two games currently going. I'll start with our second place, Anish Giri, who might be in a bit of trouble against Matthias Blübaum. That's current position on the board. And this knight on g5, which is hanging, it is there for quite a few moves already. Because whenever black would attempt to take, g5, h-file opens, black king is under very unpleasant attack. So now Blübaum is thinking he has various possibilities. Like, I imagine even like castling long is not completely out of question. Computer wants to go knight to e4 here, so that if black was to take, then knight d6 first, and then pawn takes, getting some attack, not decisive just yet, but maybe some chances for Matthias. And then if Matthias wins, that gives our Fabiano Caruana a chance to catch up if he wins his game against Andrei Yesipenko. And pay attention to Fabi's last move, because rook takes c3, in words of one Garry Kasparov, it's a matter of chess culture, sacrificing an exchange on c3 in the Sicilian, right? Rook takes c3, and what happens now? If you take with the queen, the black, I imagine, is very happy to pick up the central pawn and the dark square bishop, and then just go from there. So black has this fantastic bishop on g7 and a pawn as the compensation for the white's rook. And computer favors black here, and if you were to take with the pawn, then there is no immediate tactical follow-up, but black simply argues, we have one piece each, and your piece is the rook on h1, my piece is, say, the knight on e5. I'm not sure if your rook is stronger for now, no open files, everything, but what is open is your king. So really clever play, and possibly Fabi gets yet another chance to finish this tournament on a positive note. Now, moving to women's tournament, you guys mentioned that we have 6 names in our head that potentially could become a winner, which is a unique situation if you think of it. But let me describe one really strange scenario where we would have a 5-way tie for the first. First things first, we have 2 leaders, and, well, I wish them well, but for this unlikely scenario to happen, they would have to lose. So I'll start with Vaishali against Katerina Lagno. Vaishali has a better position according to the engine, but, you know, there are open files against the white king. So it's not impossible that black conjures some sort of an attack, and who knows, maybe Vaishali collapses under pressure. Then the other leader, Bibisara Asobaeva, is actually somewhat worse against Divya Dershmo. So if we think Vaishali could lose, Bibisara could lose, then third place, Zhu Jiner against Anna Muzychuk. Anna's position is slightly more pleasant. So if Anna wins or makes a draw, that means Zhu Jiner is not winning the tournament alone, and it's either Anna or Zhu Jiner will be tied for the first. And yes, last but not least, Alexandra Goryachkina, slightly more pleasant against Tan Zhongyi. I know you've lost me here. Too many ifs, too many buts. But if Goryachkina wins, that would mean she also joins the tie. Let's once again look at the standings. So Vaishali, Bibisara Asobaeva, Zhu Jiner or Muzychuk, Goryachkina and Lagno. That's how the 5 winners in this unlikely scenario, the names of 5 winners in this unlikely scenario. Much closer tournament, as you can tell. only 2.5 points difference between the first and the last place. So yeah, we've gotten our answer to the main question yesterday, who's going to win the Open candidates, but we have a lot of drama still for this round 14. Back to you guys.
Absolutely, and I can see that the players in the last round, we're seeing some very, very sharp positions. I love that rook takes c3. Thank you, Miro, for that one by Fabi. Our format, I mean, it is the last day after all. Let's take a look at how the players are going to win the tournament.
So let's remind everyone that this has been an 8-player double round-robin event. No draw offers allowed until Black's 40th move has been played. Time control 2 hours for the first 40 moves, 30 minutes rest of the game, and the increment starting from move 41.
Our schedule today is the last day of play. There is a day for tomorrow in case of a tiebreak for the ladies, but it's our last day.
Yes, in the open section, it's the final day. Today playing the final round. Tomorrow, in the ladies section, there might be playoffs.
Right.
Very likely.
We just saw that Sindarov has won a great prize for his first prize, but the overall prize fund is still a pretty impressive amount of money.
Absolutely, minimum prize fund is 700,000 euros. First place, 70,000, but as we know, Javokhir took home 170,000 euros.
Exactly.
Second place, 45, and in addition, 5,000 euros per half point earned for every player.
Nice.
Let's forget, Javokhir will also be playing a World Championship match, and
There'll be a
prize fund there.
the multi-million-dollar prize fund coming up in that event. I'm going to jump right into the game between Andre and Fabi. Let's be frank, Andre has not had a tournament that he's going to be relishing. He's played white, and he's played somewhat tepidly in the opening. This queen d3 didn't work out in what you might call a Yugoslav attack kind of position. He found yet another tepid move, h3. That's so soft. If you're going to put your bishop on e2, very oftentimes it's associated with h4 and g4 and what have you. I mean, I even would consider the move f4 at this moment.
Something active, right?
Even bishop takes f6 and maybe put the knight on d5. But h3 just gave the black Fabi the time he needed and wanted to play, I would call it the Sicilian sacrifice. Rook takes c3, and just as Miro was saying, queen takes c3, knight takes e4. Instant and very good compensation, very strong bishop and pawn for the exchange. So after b takes c3, queen c7, your compensation isn't a pawn, but it's structure. And suddenly, you start seeing that after a5, a4, knight c4, recapturing the queen, it's white who's on the back foot, and
it's definitely easier to play with black and more pleasant.
And I remember in a U.S. Championship game, it was Ray Robson versus Hikaru Nakamura. Hikaru, and they just gave the exchange, and Ray, really very, very strong player, just had a devil of a time dealing with these two bishops. Like, you'd almost think to yourself, well, can't I play king b1, king a1, rook b1, rook b2, to create some kind of a fortresses?
You're looking at that bishop on g7.
Exactly.
Coming for you.
And it's like, no, it's not that much fun. And you just mentioned the bishop on g7 coming for me. If I play a move like bishop h6 in order to trade bishops, at the end of the day, knight takes e4 is going to be
knight will be pretty good on c3 as well.
Brilliant, in fact. So altogether, it's not the kind of a task that you want. It's a thankless position.
Not
for
with white. Definitely love Fabi's position here, and you can see he came in today to play for a win. Because the opening he chose.
Exactly. This is Open Sicilian for sure. So that's number one. And then the other one, as we were coming on air, was with the Matthias Anish game. And I thought that was really quite extraordinary, because Matthias has basically played a very solid event. He's drawn 12 out of 13 games. He lost the one game. And today, he suddenly found his, his spirit, the attacking spirit. whenever in the 1930s...
He realized it's now or never. It's the final round.
That's it. In the 1930s, we had Frank Marshall. He was a really a gifted attacking player. And I liked quite a number of games that he won, did Frank Marshall. And one of his favorites was putting his knight on g5 and answering h6 with h4. And that knight is just kind of sitting there, and Anish said, well, okay, you're not killing me, right? And said,
but you're always
do your
worried.
worst.
When the knight's looking at you on g5, you're always worried there'll be some kind of checkmate. All white needs to do is distract the knight on f6.
And that was why Miro was referring to the move knight e4 with or without castles. Get rid of that knight, that defending knight on f6. And I just want to say, we've got a fun game in store. And for Anish, who's like thinking to himself, like, look, I just want to secure second place.
Just needs a draw. But Matthias is like, no, we're playing today.
Like, why me of all players that are you so ambitious? And Miro, is Matthias justified in seeking an attack?
Well, as usual, like it looks exciting to us, but if you dig a little bit deeper with the engine, apparently it's closer to a balanced position.
Right.
And I've done a little digging, and interestingly enough, knight g5, a6, queen c2, h6, there is one game in the database. There is one game in the database. So h4 apparently is a kind of true novelty, and nowadays you cannot really know what's true novelty, because when we refer to something being new in human practice, we do not check if it was played hundreds or thousands of times between computer engines, right? So rook to e8, then a3 is one of the possible moves. Knight e4 at once was an alternative.
Right.
So a3, b5, bishop a2, bishop b7, and the line would go knight c to e4, where black apparently has to take. Well, in fact, knight e4 might be playable as well. So black's position's not terribly bad. But then, after knight e7, you no longer have to play for the kingside attack.
Right.
You could do a very Catalan move, if you will. Bishop a5. There is a line in the Catalan, and Yasser would probably know which line I'm talking about, where White would put the bishop on a5, and it makes playing desirable c7, c5 very, very hard for black. Right, but that's more of a positional line, and if black wanted to accept the challenge, he would take on g5, where as much as I want knight g5 to work or h5 to work, it simply doesn't, so white has to take d6 first. C takes, h g5. The knight surprisingly can go back to d7. Queen h7 check is not a checkmate. And the line computer wants to have is d5, ed5, bishop d5. Then you'd say, but wait a second, I can just defend the knight and I'm happy, but there is g6. So that is what, so bishop d5, the moment white captures bishop d5, it's sort of a double trend, because g6 as well as capturing on c6. And then black takes on g5, white takes c6, no pins on the c file because there is always queen h7 check. So black has to take, white takes back, and a knight jump to either f6 or c5. And computer argues, you know what, your queen kind of moved away from the h file, so the black king is safe for now. And how about your wrong king on e1? And it refers to this position as balanced.
Miro, I love the lines you're showing us, but look at Matthias' last move.
Castle long. That's something that I mentioned.
Yeah.
That's something that I mentioned. I thought it's kind of human, kind of from human perspective. It does look very logical. So you got a castle long, you connect the rooks, you include your last piece into attack. But that makes me wonder, what is he planning against b4? Because at first glance, computer was very critical of his castle long, but apparently there is a move d5, which completely sets position on fire.
Wow.
And then black is better according to machine, but yeah, navigating that, good luck. Because if you were to take on c3, bishop c3, I can see how white gets a tremendously strong attack, right? Bishop f6, queen a7 being a threat.
And we have b4.
If you take on d5, that's actually rook takes d5, and that's, you know, Mikhail Tal-inspired play by white.
Exactly.
Yeah. So castles before, I guess, if you don't play d5, you just resign. And after d5, black has, which probably is the strongest move, is a jump to d4.
What?
So ed4, crazy. Then you take on c3, attacking the bishop, and when the bishop takes, you could theoretically take the knight, but computer wants to play positional. It takes on d5, bishop d5, ed5, and it argues with all kind of material equal, we simplify a little bit, and then black is threatening to take the knight and jump to e4. So white's attack gets neutralized, and if you go back to f3, then again knight e4, and black's position is much better this way. So castle long, something that I would have done in a fraction of a second in the blitz, happens to be not a good move.
Wow, really, I like that double-edged move d5, d4, and everything looks really promising for white until the move knight d4.
Cold shower.
Right, that is a really remarkable move because it shuts down all the all the attacking ideas that you had on the diagonal. Like, what the heck is my pawn doing on d4? Nice move, knight d4.
Miro, could you please tell us what's going on in the women's section?
Exactly.
Right, let's go one by one. Let's start with the leaders, because as much as I wanted to bring some drama and say, okay, five-way tie, but now the more I look, it looks like Vaishali has a comfortable advantage against Katerina Lagno. And it was a remarkable line here. It was a dragon Sicilian with castle long move 9. So basically here you have two major alternatives, bishop to c4 or castle long, castle non d5. That is known for years, and I believe that's the line which is currently considered to be the main position for this line. Instead, white goes knight c6, bc6, and bishop to c4, which should be very rare. I'm checking, there are some games on this position. There are some games, black's main continuation being e7, e6, so just protect the center. Black in our game went bishop e6, ed5, cd5. That's interesting, because in this moment white captured on d5, so this intricacies of move order ended up not mattering, but apparently bishop d5 is a stronger move, because over here white could have gone bishop b3. Interesting, not taking the pawn, but the bishop on e6 is so badly placed that white, strangely, can slow play it, can play bishop d4, can start moving the pawns. White is not in rush to capture the pawn. Anyway, everything was traded on d5, rook b8, bishop b3, you have to guard b2, queen c8, and this is the funny line that we were looking at. If white was to take on a7, black captures b3. Now a b3, rook b3, black's very happy. If you take on b8, there is a punch, bishop h6. So the queen is getting distracted and black is getting a checkmate on c2. If you were to go f4, queen b8, a b3, bishop f4, black wins. Of course, our leader did not blunder this one. King b1, bishop takes b3 was played by Lagno. Perhaps not the strongest move. A takes, a5, bishop d4. And we are getting, I guess, just like simplifications, and black's initiative is not enough compensation for the pawn. That's the impression I'm getting here. e5, bishop is put on c3. a4 wins back the pawn, rook h to e1. I would still be scared, to be honest. I would still be scared with all three files, like A, B, and C file opened against the white king. Right, and reminder where those two are in the standings. Vaishali is leading, Lagno is trailing by full point. So, of course, like a win for her would mean a lot. But for now, it doesn't look very likely.
And the other key game of our tournament co-leaders between Divya and Bibi, we've just seen a nice tactical motif by Bibi. I thought earlier, if you just look at the structure, where did you want your knight as black?
D4.
Of course, you want your knight on D4. She had played the move King H8 sometime
Yes, sir, sorry,
earlier.
we have to wait till the board is on the screen.
Oh, sorry.
I think we're having some technical issues. Miro, if you can pull up
Right,
Divya
but
and
I've
Bibi Sara's game.
picked up what Yasser is saying, and I think I agree with it. Yeah. So here, King H8. I don't know if we can have my board on the screen. Yep. Bishop H3. All of that was kind of right from White's perspective, and then White had to find courage to take the pawn on E5, where I'm not even sure what the plan was, because at least there is no immediate way for Black to win the pawn back.
Right.
And instead, White thought, you know what, the pawns are doubled, your bishop on G7 is passive, let me try to trade some pieces. And apparently it's a blunder, because rook takes, and Black captures the pawn on E4.
Very happily,
so now,
yeah.
if you were to take on E4, it's bishop B7, bishop takes F3. Yeah, knight E4, Black wins the pawn, but it's not devastating. The game is still going, because, yeah, the pawns are doubled. The knight is still far away from the desirable D4 square, so White has to play a move like bishop to G2 and might still be in a very good spot.
Yeah, and this game, it seems like every game in the Women's Championship is for first place.
It truly
Well,
is.
Divya cannot catch up with the winners, of course, but yes, it's a very important game for Bibi Sara. Well, very important for her to try to win, and of course, a loss would be devastating.
Right.
Right. So a lot of tense games going on today.
Exactly, but picking up from where, let me see if my board is finally working, picking up from what you just said, Miro, knight takes E4. I'm anxious as White to win my pawn back if I was in Divya's shoes. Bishop G2, defending the knight, preparing queen takes, bishop to B7. Now knight takes E5, bishop takes E5, bishop takes E4. I'm assuming.
Who benefits more by opening up all this?
Right,
files?
because at the end of the day, it's like Black has won a pawn, but those pawns on the queen side are not going
Completely
anywhere.
blocked, yeah.
And then you have to continue the line at rook D6, bishop D4. That's the one.
That's nice.
Yeah, that's the one thing you don't want to see, is that the bishop and the rook are working together. Still, I think the line continues. Does it?
Do you
Rook-
take on E6?
Yeah, I was about to say.
Let's check it out. It
Rook
looks like
takes
fun.
E6.
Take bishop F2?
No, that's the problem. I think it's queen F7.
No, that looks better than
And
bishop
then
F2.
queen
yeah.
takes F2. And it's a long series of calculation, a long series of sacrifices, but I think this is the main line. Rook D6 is by no means forced either. I mean, you could just simply play the position as
King
if it's a position. King G2, Rook E1. Lots of nice moves here for White. And again, just every game is crucial to the first place.
There is one move, though.
Please.
Yes, so there is one move for Bibi Sara after your bishop takes E4. If we could have
Yes.
position after move 26 in our analysis.
Right?
The move that I believe it's not easy to spot, but when computer shows it, like you immediately realize, this is why it's for. Bishop to A6, and I believe none of us was looking in this. But then you take the knight and you put the bishop on D4, and you are arguing, yes, your light square bishop is very active, but what exactly does it do? And it's not clear, right? So if Black gets to take on C3, he's absolutely fine, and that's how the line continues, and then queen F6, bishop to D4, and computer says, you know what, this position's equal, and I tend to believe it.
Those bishops of opposite color middle game positions. Nice. Bishop A6 was off the radar.
for sure.
Our production team has decided to dig deeply and make some comparisons. They prepared some nice graphics for us.
Let's have a look.
Let's have a look what they did.
Wow, this is a pie chart for the World Championship match.
Wow.
Sindarov is 83.6% favorite.
I think the algorithm.
I would disagree with this big time.
Exactly. I think the algorithm was very impressed with the candidates.
Exactly. But if you exclude the candidates, it would be closer to 60-40.
I would have thought
probably.
so, but interesting early look at that.
And this is comparison of their accuracy in the last 50 games. Of course, again, unfair to compare this because
Gukesh has had a bad period for him.
And Javokhir's having the best year of his chess career.
Right.
So, yeah, anything can still happen. Of course, it's a match.
Right. Interesting graphic, though, just to the last 50 games. Not cherry picking, that's 50 games, right?
You can see Javokhir won 17 out of 50 games. Gukesh won 13.
Whoa.
A lot of draws, 0 losses for Sindarov.
So he's on a no-loss streak of 50, but 11 losses for the world champion Gukesh. Goes to show his form has been less than stellar.
It's his form and also it's his style of play. He always plays for a win, even when the position requires it to just end in a draw. He always takes risks and it doesn't always pay off.
Clearly.
And this will be by far the youngest World Championship match. The combined age
Exactly.
is 39.
Well, I think there was, in World Championship match history, players well over 39 who were playing those World Championship matches. So total.
So previous record was Gukesh versus Ding, because Gukesh was only 18.
Right.
And third place, that was Kramnik against Leko in 2004.
Right. That goes way back.
I don't remember that match.
Oh, yeah, Switzerland. And it was an amazing match, actually. Peter Leko played a brilliant match and was a game ahead with the last round. Kramnik had to win to tie the match.
Wow.
And then he won it
On demand.
on demand. And then
Comparison of their ratings. Let's
last
have a look.
graphic. Wow.
As we know, Javokhir has had a fantastic year. Starting in January 2024, he was below 2,700.
Wow.
Now he's 2775. Meanwhile, Gukesh started at 2725 and well, there was a big increase, and now he's back to about where he started.
So if you could look at the graph carefully, so in July, just a little bit from July 24, Gukesh is at his peak.
Wow,
Sindarov is at a valley. And then they crisscross come January 26. And since that time, a big difference. So something happened from July, August of 2024 when Sindarov just took off. Picking up the big fight for second. Thank you to our production team, by the way, for coming up with those graphics, and Ben Underwood especially. Always nice to get those statistical comparisons. In the big fight for second place, pardon me, Matthias did castle long,
Took a big risk.
provoked the move b5, b4, which is actually a very strong move. Whenever you're castled on opposite wings, you know, throw your pawns at your opponent's king.
I think he missed this move, Yasser, that Anish found.
Well, d5 was great. It was a great response.
Only move, honestly. And then knight
But
d4.
this one is really a star move. You know, as we were coming on air, we were talking about great attacking players, and we all remember Nezhmadinov as something special. I mean, this is a kind of a position that Nezhmadinov would just relish, you know, and he'd be looking at a sacrifice like knight takes f7 right now, right? I mean, because why not? You know, like pieces are flying, right? And he would also be looking at this type of a sacrifice.
Because he loved to sacrifice his queen all the time.
He loved to I mean, it's not that his sacrifices were always sound or anything like that, but he made the opponent uncomfortable. right? He
yes,
upped the ante.
you played him many times. Were you always expecting that he was going to sacrifice?
I never played him. I never played against him. I just studied his games, and I just thought I thought he was some kind of a genius. I mean, but when you look at his best games, you have to say to yourself, why wasn't he world champion? Because the other 1,000 games he was getting crushed by the likes of Paul Carez and Michael Tal and Lev Polygaevsky, for that matter, right, Miro?
But when he would win, he would always win in style.
Yes.
Yeah, I like your line, yes. Okay, it's not sound like at all, but that's definitely something that Nejmedinov would have done.
Yeah.
D6, I looked a little bit, and actually, yes, it's easily refuted by computer, but if you imagine yourself sitting at the black kind of side of the board, and your opponent plays, you kind of capture on e6, you take the queen, and then they take on f7, and they do not take the rook, but take on c2, and they keep sacrificing material. And it looks scary until you realize that on the way you've picked up, a whole caboodle of extra pieces, and then you can go bishop e4, knight h7, and you're a queen and a knight up, and this is too much.
That's a lot.
So I really don't know, because objectively, that's what, let's refer to the engine suggestion as objective truth. You have to take on d4, takes, and then go with your day playing this worst position. But I do not think that this will happen. Because it's such a set position. It's not for that type of position. You go castle, you go d5, you sacrifice in order to end up in a positionally worse middle game. That's not what you're doing. So I'm thinking Blübaum has some tactical idea on his agenda. It's just that, or maybe he just blundered knight d4. That's also possible.
It's an easy move to miss, Miro. Knight d4, and but for the standings and the fight for second place.
Yes, and before we saw knight d4 and all that, he said Anish just wants to make a draw and guarantee himself his second place. Well, now he'll be happy if he wins this and finishes second that way, even better.
Well, yeah, the extra half point, thank you very much.
That's some rating points.
Right. Knight d4, and again, the cold silicon beast is saying there's no trickies here. You don't want to do this, right? You're trying to keep as many pieces on the board as you can. And after bishop takes d5, I'm just, thinking, well, if I play bishop b1, trying to keep pieces on the board, what am I doing?
You can just take the knight on g5 now and then cover on e4.
Precisely.
I don't even get a check on h7.
Exactly. You just plug, well, maybe, yeah, because bishop f4, queen takes g5 check. No, it's just not working.
No.
I mean, that's tragic for Matthias, because the move castles right here, you are seeing these lines with knight c e4, and you are trying to convince yourself that, hey, I've got some really good, and then the moves knight d4 just stopped. Maybe after b4, was it time to just like do one of these?
Well, if black does that, sure, but I think black takes on g5 instead.
Takes on g5, takes on, I have to open up the c file, don't
Exactly. And whose king is weaker?
And then black has knight d4, and that's the difference.
Oh.
Yes.
So if he wanted to go knight e4, he had to do it
Without
one move earlier,
castles.
without castling. So he kind of what we call castled into it.
Absolutely,
right?
yeah. So if there was a time for knight e4, Miro, it was now, before castles, and that would have been the way. And that makes all the difference in the world, actually, because the current position is actually very favorable for black, and Anish is looking very, very good.
And if Anish wins this game,
yes,
he takes home 130,000 euros. Not a bad payday.
A brilliant payday, I would say, for World Chess. The candidates, the World Championship matches are the two best paid events.
Yes, sir. We have Maurice Ashley joining us from Cyprus.
I can't believe it, Maurice. They put you to work? I mean...
Well, it's all over. 8 minutes and 56 seconds is all it took for Javokhir Sindarov to seal the deal and officially become the next challenger to the world title. He came in looking very cool, calm, and collected and played a GM draw, if you will, against Chinese GM Wei Yi, who looked like he didn't care much. He understood the situation, did not have that much at stake, and he was happy to get out of there with the draw himself. Javokhir now stands alone. Everyone will be looking at this young man, only 20 years old, the youngest player in the tournament, who broke a tournament record by having the best score of recent candidates in history. Just simply an incredible performance, one for the ages. Now we turn our attention to the women as they play. In this moment, 6 players with the opportunity to win the tournament. It could be a 5-way tie, creating a playoff situation that would be absolutely unprecedented. But it's still a long way to go in that one. The 2 American players going back to the open section did not fare well. Nakamura seemed resigned to his fate and doesn't seem as though he would really care to make another run. He says that he would see what happens in the future, but it doesn't seem as though he is that motivated anymore, as he has a successful career away from the chessboard. And as for Fabiano Caruana, he is still in there battling against Yasipenko, trying to close out this tournament very well, at least on a positive note. We'll see how he does, and we'll keep updating you here live from Cyprus.
Thank you, Maurice. Absolutely. I'm looking at the game between Matthias and Anish, and I'm forcibly reminded of the book, How to Beat Bobby Fischer. Mm-hmm. And it was a wonderful book by Edmar Metnes, sadly, who's no longer with us. But Edmar explained that what Bobby's problem was, what Bobby's losses stem from, was his self-awareness. He was very intent on doing what he was doing, and not oftentimes looking at what his opponent was doing. Mm-hmm. So here's Matthias. Matthias has just sacrificed a piece with the move d4, d5. And what Matthias is calculating is that his opponent would capture the piece. So Bobby Fischer would be saying, okay, go ahead and play to my agenda, which is now bishop takes c3. And in Matthias's mind, he's got these 2 razor-sharp bishops eyeballing the king side as well as the queen. And he's thinking marvelous, 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 marvelous until the cold shower.
Black gets to play as well.
Knight to d4, and that, like, this move was missed. So after captures, now Matthias had to do a different series of sacrifices.
He's down a full piece at the moment.
Exactly.
Well, for 2 pawns. I'm actually surprised it's that lost, because you have 2 pawns for a piece. Black's king is still weak. Why is it so completely lost?
Is Black's king so weak?
I guess it's not. It looks weak, the white squares around it.
Right.
It's very easy to cover, right? If you give me a check, this bishop d5 covers it.
Right. Mm-hmm. Okay, so obviously you want to take my queen. Okay, let's just say I move my queen. And if you give me a discovered check.
Yes, then you cover
and then I cover again. And then it's just like...
What if I give you knight f4 check just so you can cover on d5?
Knight f4 check. Mm-hmm. Well, then of course I run away.
I just thank you for letting me do that.
Well, oops. The job of a commentator is to show every checkmate that is possible. I think I can.
Go to h7, yes, because again, e4 square is completely covered. If my pawn was on f3, that would be a different story.
Exactly. You might even have to start with f3, but yeah, just so that like it's not a perpetual check or something like that. I can cover, as you just said, with the e4 square. So he has sacrificed. Let me just make sure that knight takes e6 is the last move.
Yes, and Anish is thinking, but I'm sure he's just double checking everything and he's not missing any tactics because he knows he's winning.
So if it's 2 pawns, by the way, if it's just 2 pawns.
Even that looks pretty good for Black.
Because Yeah, it's just sort of like the B file is open, right? On a good day, I get to play a move like rook to B8, bishop to E4.
No, this is great. You have two pieces, fantastic minor pieces for black. White
Queen
king is very weak.
E7, bishop A3.
I might even prefer this.
Yeah, just to take a...
Practically speaking,
Yeah.
it's easier to play this.
Miro, I loved the exchange sacrifice that Fabi made earlier against Andre. As it worked in his favor?
Well, we've just seen a couple of moves, so it's still kind of still develops. I wanted to give you one more remark about Anish. I'm thinking, okay, he converts today's game. What's his score? 8.5. What do we remember? We remember Anish missing a chance to win in last 3 games, question mark. So he could have scored more. Yeah. He lost his game once, so this 8.5 are made in 13 rounds, not 14 rounds. 8.5 won Gukesh, the candidates alone.
In
so
Toronto.
all I'm saying, yeah, in Toronto. So all I'm saying, Anish has a fantastic result, and it's not his fault that there was a man who scored 10, right? All we will remember, Anish second place, 1.5 points behind. But he has an absolutely fantastic tournament.
No question.
All right, back to Fabi's game.
Yes.
Rook takes C3, B takes C3.
Right.
Queen to C7, F4, knight to D7, and rook to D4. Well, computer just likes black's position. Why would you do? Like, you go B5 or you go rook C8, all of those are good moves according to the machine.
Right.
So...
Rook C8 looks the most standard.
Rook C8, and then... That's, well, computer's actually not sure what it wants to do. I guess some rook D1. And, well, it's tricky. It's not... Apparently, white wants something now, because I'm looking at the engine moves, and computer's not... well, kind of goes knight B4, knight B6, rook B4. Aha, so there is this resource. There's rook B4, and if you were to go to C4, then bishop takes, then they take another knight, they go E5. So something really tricky happens. I don't think it's going to be on the board, but if I follow along all of those moves, in fact, white almost equalized. So let me try to understand what's going on. So if bishop takes E5, rook C4, obviously. That's something, I feel like I'm missing something very simple. So, and then you cannot take on E5, you have to draw back, and white gets to trade the queens. So that's very often, in these types of Sicilians, even a queen trade is not a disaster for black. Right, because you have a long-lasting positional compensation, and sometimes like white pays a price of a central pawn, like drops the E4 pawn in order to trade the queens, and then black's all right. But here, it's a little bit trickier. So now I believe like this B5 move is what he has to choose. B5, and then if I play the same way, rook D1, then after knight B6, there is no rook B4. There is no such line, right? And the knight is aiming at A4. So maybe B5, knight B6, knight to A4 is what Fabi has to do. Wow. Really intriguing, because Andre allowing this rook C3, it's not like he doesn't know rook C3 is dangerous, right?
Right.
If you don't mind, like a few things about the opening line, because I remember you said like queen D3 is a weird choice for a dragon, and in fact it was the knight off with queen D3. And queen D3 is apparently like one of the topical moves nowadays, like Nordibek Abdusatorov playing queen D3. I remember quite a few games here in Sinquefield Cup. Right, so
Miro, if you don't mind me interrupting you, we have breaking news in the game between Divya and Bibi.
Wow.
The players had followed our line up to knight takes E5, and Bibi, I think, missed an important tactic.
Did she blunder something?
Yes, we were expecting that.
Wow, Divya's completely winning.
Yes, bishop takes E5, bishop takes E4 was our main line, with a pawn being captured on B2. But Bibi said, hey, I can take the pawn on F2. And it appears that she was blind to the move rook D7.
It's actually not just rook D7. I'm sure she saw rook D7, but after queen F6, the move she missed, because she probably calculated bishop b7 or something, and then black takes on e5.
Right.
It's the knight d6 move here that's winning for Divya, which is not easy to spot, especially from afar.
Knight d6.
It's so tricky.
Wow.
What are
So,
you
I mean,
threatening?
from Bibi's point of view, she's probably thinking,
Yeah.
go ahead and take my bishop and let me take your knight, and it's going to be a crazy bishops of opposite color middle game thing. But you're saying,
Black is maybe even better, but this move knight d6, will Divya
Oh.
find it? She only has 6.5 minutes.
Guys,
Because-
it's a very, very, very hard line to find. I'm not even sure if knight d6 will be played.
Yeah.
Because
Right.
look, knight a6, and then I'm asking myself, what's after bishop g2? Why are you winning?
Right.
Then you're winning because you have this check, which you can find, I guess, but then you have that check on h6, and this is something I didn't really
Pay
think
attention.
of. Yeah, I thought, yeah, maybe it's a check and king takes, but then after queen f5, black is fine, because if you take f2, black's gonna take e5. So knight h6, you cannot take on h6 because you have a lot of pieces around white king, but it's your king which is getting mated, because after knight h3, white hides here. King
King
h2, and that's
that-
remarkable, right?
What a
that's
line.
beautiful.
That's remarkable. So knight h6, the best move is to go back to h8, and then you give another knight check, and this time it has to be taken. Knight takes, king g8, and then you take on g2. So it's a very tricky move, knight d6. And of course, if Divya finds it, it will be a remarkable game, but I don't think we should blame Bibi for overlooking this one. It was a very hard move to find.
And
Absolutely.
once again, what a... Every game seems to be for first, but this one definitely is, as Bibi was tied for first coming in.
Yes, everything is in Bibisara's hands. If she wins today, she's guaranteed at least playoffs. If she draws, she needs Vaishali to also draw. But if she loses, then she hopes that Vaishali also. By the way, while I'm speaking, Divya did not find that move. She played rook
took
b7.
on b7. Rook takes b7, missing what we think was a golden opportunity. And what a line. Again, this line really, it's so picturesque. It deserves like one of those poster tactics, right? Like, you get here, I'm amazed that you get here and you go,
How is the white king not getting mated?
isn't it wonderful? I'm checkmating black, but wait a minute, I'm getting checkmated. And if it wasn't for the fact that the bishop was on g2, that would be the case. You don't take the bishop and allow queen f1. You go king h2 and
Incredible
say,
line.
I've heard of using your opponent's pawn.
yeah.
It's a traitor, right? You hide behind your, but hiding behind two pieces.
Behind your opponent's two pieces. Incredible.
That's a pretty one. Bibi dodged a bullet.
Yes, we have a
And-
couple of moves. Rook b7, queen e5. Now it looks like Bibisara is out of
And
trouble
now-
completely. Maybe she even has chances.
I'm thinking that's exactly what I'm thinking. The knight f2. We don't call it a gamble because she
Now
she
it's
didn't
gonna
see
spot knight d6.
knight d6. But if white has to capture, well, check it out. I mean, you're just lucky that the bishop doesn't land on d4. But this is easy. These are happy moves for black
And
suddenly.
it also seems like black has no risk whatsoever. So
Right.
this is wonderful news for Bibisara and her fans.
Exactly. So, wow. What is happening in Zhu Jinier's game, Miro?
Zhu Jiner against Anna Muzichuk with black.
Yes.
Well, so far doesn't look like Zhu Jiner has any realistic winning chance. So if Bibi wins, so she's slightly worse from what I understand.
Slightly worse?
Yeah, it was this structure where Muzichuk went for c5, and yeah, after a couple of moves, a lot of stuff was traded on c5, rook c1, rook b8, queen e5, and black went knight to e8. So somewhat passive pieces. I don't think black has any realistic chance. Interestingly, computer was advising to trade the queens, but yeah, after knight e8, in fact, queen e3 is probably the best shot at, queen e3 or queen c3, a best shot at advantage just to keep the queens on the board. But I don't think Anna will do it after. Yeah, and to confirm, she captured on c7 immediately. where, interestingly, you've seen the barometer, the thermometer
Yes.
shifted in black's favor. Okay, it's not much, but now black's fully comfortable, I guess.
Right. Maybe, well, not king f8 in this.
Yeah, but the
moment.
c-pawn's not going too far, right?
Precisely.
And we have the b file, so maybe we go rook b2 first.
Yeah, that's a
And
good
then after side bishop c4, this is where we'll go king f8.
Right.
So white will have to be a little bit careful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Remarkable turnaround games. And of course, Vishali versus Kate, that was one of those games where Kate has to win. The end of story. That's just, she must win. So she went into aggressive, hyper-aggressive, sacrificial mode. She's a pawn down, but the problem is it's two connected pass pawns. So any endgame she loses. So she cannot play any, she cannot allow a trade of queens, but the open D file also means that she has to be careful that more trades.
Black's only compensation is the open A file, but white king goes completely safe with the bishop on c3.
Yeah.
There's no checkmates. It's just white has to be careful how to make progress.
Right.
Ideally, Vaishali wants to trade queens. Queens come off, she wins easily. Could she try to force it?
That was my question. Can she? Queen d6. You always have to be attentive to rook takes b3. That, I don't think it works in this case because rook takes b3. I think I can simply capture it and just cover up nicely. My next move is going to be, in case of rook b8, rook d2. So there's no immediate sacrifice.
Queen d6, probably black will play queen a7, avoid the queen trade.
Right. And it was funny, a moment ago, there was a pawn on a4 that Kate has captured. Queen takes a4. Here, everybody knows that you would love to play rook take a4, stopping the attack down the a file. But queen takes a4 would be regrets. Queen takes a4 regrets. But this is the thing that Kate is hoping for, that she'll somehow miraculously be able to play queen a2, maybe in a good day. If she can go queen a2, king c1, bishop h6, dragon players rejoice.
That's the dream.
That's the dream. Right. So those two, Vaishali and Bibi, are the key games, but the other players too, we have to keep a watchful eye. Miro, what's caught your eye?
Well, not sure, like if Alexandra Goryachkina's game matter if the leader's not losing, but nonetheless just wanted to, I guess, to praise Goryachkina for not giving up yesterday. Remember, she was in trouble, but they ended up winning. And now it feels like she's back to what she does the best, like dry technical positions. Because it looked like absolutely nothing over here, or maybe a couple of moves earlier. Everything's symmetrical, and we've gotten to move 30, and it's very unpleasant for black, believe it or not, because like you don't really want to leave the e file, but the moment you trade, the king runs to d4 very quickly, and even in a line with knight to d7, white just, it's not the material but the activity that matters. And to be fair, you do win the d5 pawn back, and in this case, white would be winning. So I'm thinking she might still have a shot at like third place in a tournament. Yeah, but I guess we should go back to Matthias and Giri, because there the game could be ending anytime soon. Giri has a huge advantage.
Wow. Thank you, Miro. And we're very pleased that one of the team members of production, Lance, our Ludo champion, he came over and beat us all in Ludo. Happy birthday, Lance. Very nice celebration.
Absolutely. I hope you have a great celebration today, and thank you for spending half of
He
your day
does
with
not
us.
look like that. Somebody's AI. That is not my graphic, Lance. Talk to Megan. Megan's at risk.
Well, yes, so we're going to take a short break.
Okay.
And while we enjoy our break, earlier we had an interview with the former world champion Garry Kasparov. So take a listen, and we'll be right back.
The 2026 Grand Chess Tour is back and better than ever. 9 of the best chess players on the planet are set to embark on a year-long quest spanning 4 countries for the chance to become the next GCT champion. The tour hits the ground running with the faster time controls at the Super Rapid and Blitz Poland in historic Warsaw. Can a tour player jump to an early lead, or will all be bested by one of the many fearsome wildcards? Tune in to the world's premier chess tour to find out and to witness chess history in the making.
Hello, Garry. Wonderful to have you on our show.
Yeah, it's great to be back here. Though, there's not much to discuss today. Yeah,
So
there's some interesting chess. Yes.
Stunning victory by Javokhir Sindarov. What do you think that means for the chess world?
Look, I don't know what it means for the chess world. Well, not yet. It's recording history. Though there's a kind of historical accomplishment. There will be 2 very young players competing. So for the FIDE title, but the way he won, was very impressive.
Yeah,
I have to say that I could not be easily impressed, but the way he played, the time distribution, the quality of the moves, and the ability to actually to survive under pressure and to step up pressure on opponents, exceptional.
absolutely, absolutely. Garry, for us, it was remarkable coming in the studio each day, seeing his preparation. He played it very quickly, and it was habitual for us to see that he had an extra 30 minutes and even as much as an hour extra on the clock.
Yeah, it's not just preparation. Although it was very impressive element. I mean, he in the first round, he beat both Fabi and Nakamura and Hikaru by out preparing them, and that's quite an accomplishment. Yes. Because both are well known for working with computers and just considered to be great experts.
Exactly.
And it's one element, but what was amazing is it's how it all worked together, not just opening preparation, but then because you can't win all the games in the openings, and even the game with Fabi, for instance, he had a very good position after the opening, but he had to win, and just beating Fabi, who just was not willing to lay down his arms prematurely. That was very impressive. And next day beating Hikaru, wow, that's the. Now it's analyzing this tournament. So I think that the game actually had very bad psychological impact on Fabiano. Mm-hmm. I think somehow he just something was broken. So this is because. Yeah, he started very, he played well in the beginning. It was very, just you could feel the confidence. And I think the game with Sindarov, it's the round 1, it's around 4 of the first half of the tournament. I think that's broke his confidence, and he missed opportunities, and definitely, he was not the same person.
Wow.
And Garry, now we know that Javokhir Sindarov will be joining Grand Chess Tour as a full participant. In your opinion, is that a good way to practice for the World Championship match?
Look, practicing, it's very individual. So yes, and I don't think that my advice, is of any value, because I used to play so many years ago when we had different criteria of quality of the preparation. It seems that Sindarov, is eager to play, and I believe that he will benefit greatly from meeting more strong opponents, because he's just entered the elite. I mean, it's that's quite unique, because even Gukesh already played in some of the top tournaments. I think Sindarov is more like this meteoric rise, and I think he'll gain more experience, which he's needed. I think he looks definitely more impressive than Gukesh today, but the match is the match, and he will need more professional expertise of the highest level. And I'm sure the games that he'll play, both in Rapid and in Classic, of course, will be of great help for him to calibrate his preparation for the World Championship match.
Garry, I remember when you were preparing for your match with Ruslan Ponomariov, and you complained to me that in your preparation he played only in the Reykjavik Open. He was such an unknown quantity, Ruslan at the time. And Sindarov is this unknown quantity, so young, but I mean, it seemed like he grew in confidence as the tournament continued.
With confidence, but also this is speaking of professional preparation. So I mean, he played. I mean, Queen's Gambit declined.
Yes,
that's the main opening, and but still had some interesting ideas. I mean, that's the game with Blübaum. This is when they just took on c4. Just it's and it's he was equally confident by playing just defense when he had to, but always looking for an opportunity to fight back. Right. And it's again very balanced game, and it's not that he played sharpest openings. It's though he could do it, for instance, with Hikaru. He provoked him to play this Slav Gambit.
Yes.
So this is So even just it's the choice of the openings. I mean, just varying the openings and just being always on the most favorable position against this specific opponent. Again, he's definitely doing things that are far exceeding the experience that you expect from a 20-year-old.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow. Garry, any predictions about the upcoming match yourself?
By the way, it's Grand Chess Tour will be the first encounter of these two. I think they play in Warsaw. It will be rapid, but still they play.
Right.
So yeah. So and then I think they play in Zagreb. I think this is they will meet twice before the match. Again, it's if you compare the games, that's I mean, Sindarov looks like a clear favorite, but the match is the match, and Gukesh is very resilient. I mean, he's has a phenomenal ability to defend almost any position and just to look for the last remaining resources in virtually in any position. Mm-hmm. So it's and he has some experience. He played one match, while Sindarov will be a rookie for the relatively long match. Okay, I say relatively because we play much longer matches, but still, right. It's 14 games or 16 now. 14 games, yes.
Right.
40. It's long, and it's in any case it will be very interesting because we will see, I'm sure, outstanding opening preparation on both sides, and I'm curious whether there will be some interesting duels there or they will skip, the risky part and will try to wrestle for the advantage in the middle of the game.
Right. And Garry, one last question. So it seems like the chess world is getting younger and younger. The current world champion is 19. The challenger is only 20. Do you think this will inspire young kids to look and see we can achieve?
I still want to emphasize that the strongest chess player is 35. That's with all due respect. So I would love to see Sindarov playing Magnus, but Magnus is still around, so that's why. Yeah, and I think it's still no doubt. Maybe if Sindarov beats Gukesh, maybe there will be a chance to actually bring Magnus back and to see how it goes. But the fact that chess is getting younger, it's undisputable, and it's a natural progression. Because you can gain experience by working with machines much faster.
Exactly.
It's not that you needed to read the books and then go from one tournament to another, just collecting this valuable data. So as we did, Yasser, yes. Back then in the 70s and the 80s. Now it's all happening just when they are not even in teens. So by age 10 they already have tons of data to proceed. There are other problems with such quick acquisition of data. But having grandmasters by age 12, 13 is no longer a surprise.
Right.
Because the problem comes later. So when you have all these young prodigies, they're reaching the age of 14, 15, 16, whether they can make the breakthrough. And they definitely some of them did. But it's it's clearly the game that requires so much energy now and preparation and stamina. It offers advantage for the younger players because they are not overwhelmed with other life affairs.
Yeah.
And we'll see. So for instance, we speak about young players. I was surprised by a very feeble game of Prague. Yasser, what's your opinion?
Yeah,
very unimpressive.
I expected a lot more, but Garry, we got to call it the day. Thank you for your time and for joining us. And I got to say just one other thing. We're looking forward to the Grand Chess Tour.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Fantastic, yes. Thank you, Yasser.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Garry, and welcome back, everyone. We're in the final round of the candidates, and we already have some results.
Yes, we do. Tell us about them.
Let's take a look. In the open section, we had a very quick draw between Javokhir Sindarov.
But this is the ladies.
Let's start with the ladies. Bibi Sarasubova has drawn her game against Divya Deshmo, which puts her in clear first currently while she waits for others' results. Vaishali, if she wins the tournament.
Yeah, well, with that draw, Bibi has mathematically eliminated quite a number of players, but Vaishali could win clear first.
No playoffs.
Without a playoff, yeah, and all eyes turning there. And in the open section.
The open, we had an 8-minute draw between Javokhir Sindarov and Wei Yi, understandable. And another quick draw was between Hikaru, Nakamura, and Praggnanandhaa.
Yes. And
other games still going.
And the two games that are still going, it's a big fight for second place. But Anish, Giri, and during the break, Miro and I got a chance to talk about what really has been a fabulous performance by Anish and in different iterations.
In different circumstances, he'd be winning this
right.
outright, no playoffs.
Exactly. I mean, he's put it all together, and he is currently winning in his game against Matthias. For those of you who are joining us late, Matthias played a very aggressive castles long. You see he's ready to sacrifice pieces, and after the move b4 d5, a demonstration, he's ready to sacrifice more pieces. But the move he probably overlooked. He was doubtlessly calculating captures on c3, those wonderful attacking pieces. No, said Anish, I see what you're up to. Knight d4, spectacular defensive move. And after that, it was sort of like, well, Anish simply took over the game. He did play the move queen c8, by the way, because we were having that discussion ourselves. And we are now caught up with the players. Knight takes g7, I'm assuming. King takes g7, what else? You got to recapture on d5. And is it time to play queen e6, or is it, do we have the
so I don't think Black
B
has
file?
to be concerned about here is the white rooks coming up via third rank and somehow getting to the king, but even that's not easy.
Yeah, I mean, the rover doesn't play itself because the bishop is so maybe you just say, hey,
You don't have
look.
to do anything here with Black.
I
Ask
mean-
for a queen trade or anything, just play your game.
Right. I was anxious, strangely, I was anxious to go like queen e6 and, try to trade
course,
queens and,
We need
cover up.
to.
But,
But would you rather win in the end game or just win this position with the queens on the board?
I really don't care.
Win is a win.
Win is a win. And I mean, and I remember Michael Tal telling me, one win per game is all you'll ever need.
That's all you want.
So yeah, I mean, I might find myself drawn to queen e6, but I remember the game of Sindarov, where he against Matthias
Against
had
Blübaum,
the
yeah.
open B file. I like the move rook B8, and it's pretty easy to see why. I mean, that rook is just perfectly poised. Rook could come down to E2. So this one looks very promising for Anish. Mira, I'm going to turn it back to you and ask, is Fabi's exchange sacrifice, that game, how's it looking?
Well, it looks good for Fabi, not surprising. He did find b5. That was the last time we've stopped about in this position, right? Rook to d4, and us looking at rook c8 did not end that well, but b5 we figured out was the best move, which Fabi found. And then Andrei went for g4, which is apparently too slow. Knight to b6, f5, bishop c4, bishop takes c4, that's what we have now. And both pawn takes c4 and knight takes c4 are possible. Well, knight c4 is very natural, right? I mean, that's what you would like play most of the time. But even pawn takes is also good for black, because I imagine black win the exchange back on this diagonal. Black will win the exchange back, but yeah, I'm not sure why would you take with the pawn, because knight c4 is so much more attractive, right?
Right.
Queen, don't know where it goes, d3.
Okay.
And then we just have to decide how exactly do we continue the game. And I mentioned like moving the rook to c8 seems all right. That's one of the illustrations of, you know, long-term compensation for an exchange, right?
Right.
And one could think of it, well, on a surface, knight 3 pawns, rook 5 pawns, right? But if you start comparing the knight on c4 to rook on h1 in this position, you would say, yeah, you know what, I prefer the knight.
Right.
So no open files, and that's one of your litmus tests for, do I have enough compensation with a minor piece against the rook, right? No open files, so the rook is not that threatening. Your piece, your knight on c4, your knight or your bishop in some other cases is anchored, restricts your opponent's pieces. Yeah, so that's even like without delving too much into calculation, you would say, yeah, this seems to be plenty enough for black. Yeah, so I really like Fabi's position, and the engine likes Fabi's position, which is much more important.
It really, really looks like just a beautiful attacking position. Any dragon player would happily accept this. And I would think as white, this is unacceptable because the initiative is so easy for white to play. And the threats after knight takes c4, to my mind, are just too great. I mean, a5, b4, rook can go to c8 to b8, and again, you're playing for a5, b4, and it's just it plays itself. I like to make these explanations of happy moves, and for me, after a move like knight takes c4, queen d3, a happy move is playing knight on f6 to e5. It's illegal, I understand, but you start to think like this knight is going to go away because this bishop does want to play.
I easily see black's next moves, but I'm struggling to find good moves for white.
Exactly. You'd almost like to teleport your king to the king side, right?
Oh, yeah, on
just
G1,
get out of the
castle.
way. I mean, maybe on a good day you would like to play a3, king a2. You start to think, well, what's my best defensive setup? And you start looking, and go, well,
Even that
geez.
seems very hard to achieve.
Exactly, and you don't necessarily find yourself attracted to king a1 and rook b1. Again, just because you're putting your bishop on, your king on the diagonal of the bishop. So, sort of like as white, you get more frustrated as you don't find easy moves. And for black,
And you end up making more inaccuracies in that situation as well. When you can't find any happy moves and you're struggling, that's just how it goes, and
That's
your position
exactly
gets
right.
worse and worse and worse.
also, if you look at the clock times, sometimes that is a reveal. I mean, not when Sindarov is playing, because it seemed like he just played fast in every position. But most players when they find themselves in a difficult position, they're the ones who are behind on the clock. And whenever you see a player with a lot more time, it's because they're playing a lot easier and freer. And
Yes,
there
sir,
you see it 21-35.
It's the last day. I expected a lot of draws, but it looks like both Fabi and Anish are playing for a win and very close to winning with the black pieces. Did you see that coming?
Yeah, I basically expected Sindarov to
Make a quick
draw.
draw?
I expected Hikaru to make, because Praga and Hikaru, so that group I understood right away.
Yeah.
It's just happened in recent times, in modern times, that taking second
It's a good
could
thing, yeah.
be meaningful. It could be a multi-million-dollar decision, actually. Ask Dingler in
Yes.
why taking second might be something that's really good. So now suddenly the fight for second really is higher.
That's the motivation for Fabi and Anish.
Exactly, but for Anish, what happened in Anish's case, he must have been a little concerned that Matthias might have shut down the position from the opening, playing something very solid. He was surprised when Matthias really showed a great deal of ambition today. I mean,
Anish was very happy to see that, especially after the mistake, after the long castle.
Exactly. So these two games that are going, the big fight for second, yes, I did expect that. And again, I think that both Fabi and Anish, with the black pieces, are saying, great, let's play. And they've got good positions as well. That helps a lot.
That does help.
And by the way, Rook B8 was just played by Fabi. And again, I can just imagine from Fabi's perspective, this knight does want to go to D7. It does want to anchor on E5. You would love to play A5, maybe A4 and B4. And from Andrei's point of view, he doesn't want to be a punching bag, but he's got to think, you know, like, how can I punch back? What should I do to get some active play in the position? Maybe it's time to just go a little bit crazy and, you know, bishop takes F6.
Give the exchange back.
And go H4 and just say, okay, do me a favor.
Get rid of the bishop.
Get rid of that.
Please.
Get rid of that bishop, please. Miro, crazy that we came and we knew that the women's championship was going to be impossible
Full
to
of
call.
drama.
Full of drama. But Bibi has drawn, which means Vaishali could win the game and win and become challenger. How is she doing?
That's exactly what I wanted to talk about. So we've looking at Bibi Sara's game quite closely. This chance of going knight d6 for her opponent that was missed. But Vaishali, for quite some time, we said Vaishali is better, but the game is sharp. Let's see how sharp it is. Because till now, Vaishali was finding, if not all the best moves, but good enough moves to keep the position under control and still be better. But it's getting a little bit concerning. She's on 10 minutes with no obvious way. Like, you ask computer, it's so easy, you play any move and you're better, but there is no obvious way of simplifying things. This is something that kind of concerns me a little. I was thinking queen c4 to offer the queen straight, but then black captures goes e4, bishop takes, king b2, takes over here, and surprisingly, computer does not value this one as high for white. White's still better, obviously, with, you know, being a pawn up and so on, but with 4 rooks on the board, black still has some tiny threats, and the pawns are not running too far, at least for now, right? So you want something a little bit more clear-cut than that, like with white. But your time on the clock melts, and yeah, I'm not sure what to suggest. Like I believe, like, a very likely scenario that you sit here, you spend your time, and then with minute on the clock or so, with 2 minutes on the clock, you still end up playing queen c4 or queen d5, going for this endgame. So yeah, still not impossible that we would have a tie, not with the win, but with a draw from both leaders.
Okay. And we have some what-ifs.
If Vaishali wins her game, she wins the tournament.
Full stop.
That's it. No one can catch her. She will be half point ahead of Bibi Sara.
Wow.
If she draws today, playoffs.
Playoffs.
It could be 2-player playoff, it could be a 3-player playoff.
But playoffs it will be, nonetheless. Just quickly looking at the game of Matthias, Anish, yeah, he's winning.
It's coming to an end.
Yeah, in this position, he had a choice between rook b8, which is very attractive, and also queen e6. I think that's a very human choice to play queen e6. You're a piece up after all. For 2 pawns, but if you think about it, this pawn majority is not going anywhere. Black's pawns on c7 and a6 adequately stop. And then you think, well, this pawn on h6 is doing a great job against this majority. And in fact, why don't we just attack f2? Try to provoke f4 and then attack g3. So that's exactly what we've seen. And this is looking absolutely wonderful, a completely one-sided affair. And hold on, the desirable
don't fall
bishop.
into the trap.
Yeah, I mean, you know, how many times have I done that? Captured a pawn gleefully.
What's funny is that white doesn't equalize, just wins immediately.
Yeah, it's like, whoops. However, once you see this move, and in your mind's eye, if you see that your king can even worm its way up the board.
Or you can play rook f3 and take the pawn on the next move with the rook.
Rook, I love the move rook f3. In basketball terminology, we would say that posts up in white's position. You know, the rook. And by the way, the rook does threaten to play rook takes g3, and there's no rook g1 in that case. So rook f3, that looks really, really good.
Sir, this will be Matthias' second loss in the tournament, only second loss. Every other game he has drawn.
Anish just posted up with the rook, as you've suggested, yeah.
Yeah, this is what happens when you change up from being solid, what can happen, to going for a win.
And for Anish, I think we also have a graphic or two explaining what ifs for him could have been.
What could have been if he beat Wei Yi.
If he had beaten,
he left some points on the table.
He sure did. He sure did. By the way, we do have rook f3, and I think we just saw the move king d1 by Matthias, which is basically an admission that he had no antidote
no way to defend
for rook takes g3. I think rook takes g3 will win the game.
Yes, Matthias has resigned officially, and Anish, clear second, finishes with a win. What could have been, yes. Yeah,
I mean, Miro, we were just talking about these 15,000 tournament simulations that Ben Underwood said. And if one of those simulations you had Anish Giri scoring the number of points that he has, I would say there's probably 1,000 ways that he could have won this tournament.
Right, like it's... Well, winning one thing, but if someone would tell you 8.5 and not tied for the first,
that's unfair.
That's a huge, huge surprise, right?
Right.
Yet finishes in the second, but 1.5 points behind the winner.
Yeah.
So that shows you, like, Anish had a great tournament, and what an absolutely out of this world performance Sindarov has put on.
I still remember I played in a blitz tournament in Holland. I scored 38 out of 38, and I was clear second.
Sorry, you have to explain.
It was a handicap tournament.
Okay.
And somebody who got a big handicap at the start had scored like 40 out of 38. And I scored 38 out of 38. I was clear second. But I'm sure I had Anish feels even worse than I did. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, after all, he's done very well, I think,
for his
he
also gained a lot of rating points. So he was already in top 10. Maybe now he's closer to 6 or so. And
he, of course, will be in our Grand Chess Tour. Coming up in
apparently I was
2
right.
weeks' time.
He is world number 6 at the moment with 27.76.
And definitely a great performance from Anish. For Matthias, he was like, oh man, I mean, the moment he got ambitious, it went wrong. Yeah.
I mean, you can blunder any time, any day, it just happens.
But that knight d4 especially. I'm going to go First of all, once again, congratulations, a sincere congratulations to Anish, a really top-tier performance, no question whatsoever. I'm going to jump to the game of Fabiano because we do have some intriguing moves. I thought
the
we
knight
had
is
a
headed
game.
towards e5.
I thought wasn't the rook going to b8, or maybe that was just my analysis. I think it was just my analysis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just moving the knight, opening up the bishop. He's not rushing with the rook because maybe he's going to put it on c8 instead of b8. It's not clear yet where he's going to need it more.
Yeah, I was just also considering the move a4, like where's that knight going to go? It does have d2, but if you don't mind, I just put this on the board for just a moment. This pawn looks so
Yeah, I want
vulnerable.
end the game somehow
No.
quickly.
Yeah. May I? Sorry, I'm just having a spasm. Check? No.
Sophie Valbar.
Yeah, it was like one of those things where visually it looks really good. Oops, excuse me. Visually it looks really good along the diagonal until you see bishop b2 and you kind of go, oops, that wasn't what I had in mind when I went for this.
So Andrei is going for h4, h5 and hoping for some counterplay.
Absolutely.
So I think it's time for Fabi to do something damaging on the queen side, right?
Right. Should it be b4?
So after a4, knight d2, what if we play rook b8 then?
Okay.
With the idea
Just
of
keeping
b4.
everything. Yep. Now that I like. This looks very promising. As much as I hate giving up the bishop takes.
I'm not in a rush to do that.
Exactly. I didn't want to do it either. All right. Well, this looks really good, but again, a lot of eyes focused on the ladies. What's going on there, Miro?
Okay, let me double check. Vaishali has played a move. So that's, I think, the main game we are concentrated on. If Vaishali wins, once again, reminder, she wins the tournament by herself. She went g4, which computer does not like necessarily. H takes, F takes. Again, it's one of those positions where I said, like, it's hard to find something meaningful for white, right? So I'm personally tempted to try to trade the queens, but same goes for black. Black achieved a lot, doubled the rooks on the A file, right? But then what do you do next? You somehow have to make moves, well, simply to get to the time control, and there seems to be no straight way forward to, to progress on a queen side. There was a tricky move, rook a3 in this position, where apparently black would be threatening rook takes c6. That's what I would think. However, computer says you could go rook c6, and this does not really work. King to c1. I would think there is a check from h6, but no, rook d2. How scary is that? Well, it does look very scary, but apparently black is not in time. And now I'm thinking, yeah, I guess white could return the favor with rook g6. The moment you pass, the moment you don't give a check, you might get a kind of Uno return card, rook g6. King h7 was played.
Okay.
Wanted to say therefore, but maybe just king h7. Maybe f5 is somewhere, something.
Okay.
But I feel like in order to dislodge the queen from e4, we have to play f5. Right. But that opens our own king.
Right.
So the compensation for black. Black is down a pawn, to remind ourselves, right? White has two connected pass pawns. So one of the forms of compensation was that we would assume black's king is always safe. But now, well, the H file got open, and then if we were to play f5, then even the G file would get open. So that's not a good idea, apparently. White has to go g5 according to the engine. I guess shut down all the bishop h6 possibilities and maybe have queen h4. Still very tricky to play, especially being short on time. They are not in such a drastic time trouble though, right? 8 minutes each. They do have an increment. I've learned my lesson. It's a different time control. They do have an increment, right?
Yeah.
And yeah, let's see Let's see what happens. Move 33, so 7 more moves for each player.
She must be so nervous right now because Ashley knows if she wins, that's it. She's the challenger.
And what a dream that would be. Coming in, there was the story that maybe Pragg and his sister could be both challengers, and there'd be a great celebration in India if that was the case, but it wasn't to be, as Pragg did not play that well.
Not for Pragg, yes. We mentioned earlier how it was surprising actually how Pragg underperformed in this event.
And you heard Garry saying the same thing. Expectations. Great expectations. They were not met. I'm still looking at the game of Andre and Fabi. We just saw this move H2, H4 by Andre. And I had been focused on A5, A4 because I really want to force the hand on the queen side. And I was looking at knight D2 and rook B8, just keeping the tension. You know, we were talking about aggressive players and how do you define yourself as an aggressive player? Somebody not only who keeps the tension but ramps it up. And I like this position very much for black as you're preparing to literally blow up on the queen side.
Fabi has made a move. He played rook C8, no A4.
No A4, sorry.
Looks good. I guess now if white goes H5.
I think that's the intention at least.
He can probably just play A4 still.
Ooh, wait a minute. Whoa. Because I can open up on G6.
Then maybe start with G5. How about that?
Yeah, that's the problem. So I was ready to sacrifice a piece in these cases. Like, I don't know, takes. I see that the engine isn't
Actually, if you take white's last move back.
And take on F7
take
first.
on F7 first.
Yeah, I should have included that. Yeah.
And now maybe the C takes B3.
C takes B3.
Why not fix our double pawns?
Yeah, no, I think that this would be a dream for Andre but I liked your move G6, G5, just preventing me from blowing up on the king side. And
I think now it's time we take the rook. Waited long enough.
Reluctantly, you will win back the exchange. Bishop takes.
Because I can close up the king side completely with F6, I believe.
You know, that's the weird part, is that after F6, yeah, you give me the E6 square, but it's like my queen can't get to G7 anymore. So I think that this is still very good for Fabi. So things are still going in Fabi's favor here. I like his position.
Yes, sir. We have an interview from Cyprus. Maurice caught up with our champion, Javokhir Sindarov.
We are with the champ. Javokhir Sindarov has won the tournament. It's all over. Javokhir, you must feel like you are in a dream. Does it still feel that way, or are you finally waking up and coming down to earth?
Yeah, actually, I'm right now in a dream probably because everything going very well. And today in the morning, I got a call from my president. He told like, you are doing everything what you're saying, because after World Cup, I say to him like, I will do everything to qualify for World Championship match, and I'm very happy. Like our government, everyone believe us, and we feel the support. And yeah, probably I'm living right now in a dream.
And what about your parents and family and friends? Everybody, let's start with your parents. They must just be absolutely thrilled.
Yeah, I mean, they're very happy because for them also it's a dream. When I was child, I mean, nobody can say like after like 15 years, this guy will play for World Championship match, and they are very happy, like me. And probably when I meet him in Tashkent, I will see their reactions in life. So
yeah, the joy in their eyes and the smile on their face is going to be warm indeed. Tell me, when was the turning point, you think, in this tournament? Or was there a single turning point when you felt this really made the difference? Either made you more confident or gave you that push?
So which round or what?
Yeah, which round or which game, or was there a point that you could put and say, wow, if not for this, I may not have won this whole thing?
Yeah, I think probably for me tournament going very well, but the important round is against Fabi because I survive this position. If I lose the game, I don't know, everything can happen. And after I survive such hard position, I feel like, I mean, I will win this tournament, really. I mean, I understand I have 3 more rounds, but I feel like all other games will be not so hard like against Fabi.
So you mean the second game? Yes, round 11.
Yeah, round 11. After round 11, I feel like we'll win this tournament. I mean, before it was always tricky. I mean, I'm going plus 2 points ahead from second place, but doesn't matter. I feel a big pressure before game 5, but after that, I feel like I will win. I will take this place. So probably this game is very important. After that, I feel. So I feel like nobody can beat me in this tournament.
Nobody did beat him in this tournament.
Absolutely, he went undefeated, finished with 10 points out of 14. I mean, who can beat this score?
No, you look at that score and you just salute. I mean, congratulations, Javokhir. And it's always marvelous when the president of the country calls you to congratulate you directly. I mean, that's emotionally a great support.
Absolutely.
And look at these pretty figures. I mean, that is just a Mona Lisa.
He needs to print this and frame it.
I know, exactly. Wow.
So many wins, a few draws. And by the way, he's the only undefeated player in the tournament. Everybody had at least 1 loss.
Exactly. That speaks for itself right there, right?
Actually, Anish had only 1 loss. It was in the first round. If he didn't start with a loss, who knows what could have been?
I know, and it was a loss to Prague, too.
Yeah.
So it was... but by the way, Vaishali is playing an absolute gem of a game. Her last move, G4, G5, really cements her advantage because at first blush, you know, you should be absolutely frightened, fearful that after Queen A6, you're about to get checkmated. Rook A1 is checkmate. Rook takes B2 could lead to a checkmate. But before you deliver your checkmate,
Queen H4.
It's white who takes all the sting out of the position.
Beautiful line.
Right.
Let's show after Bishop F8 what happens.
Bishop F8.
You can take Rook F8.
Rook takes F8.
If you take with the Rook.
Yep.
Bishop takes E5, and that Bishop is an amazing defender, and it threatens checkmate in 1.
Exactly.
Game over.
Great defender, great attacker, and that is just a killing blow.
But Karina just played Queen B6, which is a more tricky move. She's protecting the D8 square, not allowing this last rank check.
Okay.
And now, what does Vaishali need to do? She has 5 minutes for next 4 moves until the time control.
Well, you know me, I'm all about grabbing pawns, especially the Rook to D7 takes F7 would be front and center in my mind. The other thing that I find attractive about Rook D7 is, like, in some weird way, I'm like I can dislodge the rook so that, I can go Queen B7.
I'm starting to see the white pieces are all working together.
Exactly. Another reason I might be attracted to Rook D7 is I've got this Queen H4 check idea in mind still, and then maybe coming back to C4. Just feels like Kate's doubled rooks appear threatening, but aren't really threatening.
They look very pretty.
They look pretty. By the way, Rook to D7, Queen A5. Do I have an immediate?
Yeah, actually.
Because it's the same thing,
threats.
right? I've got the, yes, sorry.
Oh, and actually, after Queen A5, we don't have the same idea of Rook D8, so we have to play defense here. King C1.
Wow, taking a walk?
Not a long walk.
Can I take?
Then I think I can take, I don't see a checkmate, because I always have King C3, right?
Okay, King C3. And it's sort of like...
King D3, and I should be...
It was like Jonathan Mestel had some formula with, and I forgot the formula, but it's like, if you can calculate 5 checks, it was good. You could sacrifice a rook for 5 checks. By the way, we're getting news that
I understand
they've
why Vaishali is
repeated.
repeating. She wants to reach move 40
Oh,
and then not take any risks until she gets 30 minutes. Then she can find a way to win.
how did she repeat? First
She
of all,
gave queen h4 check
Okay.
and went back to e4. So again, I don't think Katerina's gonna go king h7 here.
No, the how do you say the requirements of the tournament force her to play
Well,
for a
Katerina
win.
doesn't have a chance anymore because Bibisara drew.
I apologize. That's right. That Bibi knocks her out of the contention. And what move are they on?
38. 2 more moves to go until the time control.
Hmm, 5 minutes to
Vaishali
4
can't repeat
minutes.
2 more times. That would officially be a draw.
Right. No. Yeah.
She's gonna
Okay,
gain
so
some time, and then
basically-
she still has to find that rook d7.
Basically, Vaishali wins. Tournament's over. We got that as a what if. Ooh,
That's a
last
wrong
move
move.
looks
No.
like a blunder alert.
No, Yasser, that's transmission mistake. There's no way that was played. Was it?
Blunder alert.
Actually, it is played. I thought rook went to a5.
4. Well, you can't take with the rook. Pardon me. You can't take with the pawn. That would be a terrible blunder.
But we have
wait a
rook
minute.
d8 check.
That's what I'm
Queen
thinking.
h4 isn't. Oh, I don't know.
You can't go. Let me show you what you might have missed. Queen h4. That would really be. That would be oopsie daisy. Hold
Okay,
on.
so she can give rook d8 check, and move 40. She needs to find move c4 to win the game.
Which is not easy, guys.
Not
If
easy
you
at
think
all.
of it, it's not easy at all. So that explains why rook a to a4 was played.
Well, she
Play
is
is short on
threatening mate
time.
in 1. It's not that hard actually after c4.
Well, because of it, like you just said, it
Yeah.
is a mate in one, checkmate in one threat.
Yeah, but you kind of have to consider c4, right?
Yes,
Which is
because you want desperately. I thought, okay, this is probably what Kate is dreaming, that
and rook
she wants
e2.
to play Queen h3 checkmate, but now.
2 e4 and mate in white.
Remember a moment ago you were saying what a great bishop white has?
Yeah.
What a great bishop black has suddenly. Whoops. no.
Vaishali is 2 moves away from winning the game and getting the time control, but she has 3 minutes. She must be incredibly nervous right now. Will she find this?
Exactly.
Oh, missed the opportunity of her lifetime.
Here it is.
Tough moment.
And by the way, 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Stay calm.
Probably Prague is watching and freaking out right now.
Stay calm.
Well, do you stay calm or do you?
I give it. By the way, did you say 2 moves? 2 moves.
Yeah, 2
so
moves. Check
I
and
give a
c4.
check as a starter, and of course you have to play King h7. You can't play Bishop f8, Queen
Yeah,
takes
we just
e5. But King h7 is besides c4. Is there any?
Maybe Queen e1 is good enough. I don't. Queen e1 is good enough. Of course,
Really?
it's not as good, but
Queen
because
e1.
now if you take on b2 and do the same line, I think I have c3.
Yeah, and now my queen is actually
Defending and
defending.
it's still
is-
threatening mate.
And right, and Queen
She has 2
h4.
options, but she has 2.5 minutes. And Bibisara's watching this too. She's of course rooting against Vaishali to get the playoff tomorrow.
Right? Boy,
What a tense moment.
truly, this is it. It all comes down to this crucial moment.
So rook d8, you're telling me, guys.
Rook
yes?
d8.
Rook d8, king h7, and I'd argue you'd rather still find c4 because queen e1, rook b2, king b2, and then rook swing along the 4th rank like rook g4. And I don't care what computer says. Yes, it's plus a lot, but the bishop's still in the game. You know, black oftentimes picks up the g5 pawn, so it keeps the game going. White is waiting, but it keeps the game going.
I
While
absolutely
c4
agree.
here just ends the game. Period.
Yeah.
There is nothing. There's absolutely nothing. So the best line for black is like to take on b2, go check, white blocks with one of the rooks, and then picks up the rook on a4. So
Bingo.
this is it.
Queen h4
Yep.
is an
Going
absolutely
down to
decisive.
1 minute and 30 seconds.
Will she find rook check and c4?
I know that she's feeling that, okay, she must have a win here. But she doesn't have enough time to find it. If only rook d8 check was move 40.
Yes.
And then she could sit there for 30 minutes and find the win.
Exactly.
She did play rook d8.
Okay, one
She
move
did?
closer
She did?
to becoming the World Championship challenger.
Wow.
Rook d8. Yeah, bishop f8 we're not going to see because then queen e5 wins.
King h7, she's one move away. She's one pawn move away.
She finds c4.
One pawn move away.
Yes, sir, what do you think? Is she going to find it?
I do. I think she's going to see C, because your mind is screaming, Queen h4 wins the game. Queen h4. How can I play Queen h4? I block the rook. I block the rook.
Yes, of course. Objectively, it's not hard to find, but given this tournament situation,
I know.
her nerves, it's very hard to stay objective.
Exactly. I mean, I just have to convince myself that after c4, just as Miro said, like rook takes
Is there
b2.
queen f2 actually after c4? Because you're threatening mate and you're stopping me from playing queen h4?
But there's still rook d2, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Funnily enough, I didn't see this alternative of rook f2, but
She's
Here
down
we
to
go.
54 seconds.
54
with one move
seconds.
to go until the time control. Oh,
Nerve-wracking for her
I'm
coaches.
stressed for her. She's done it.
She's done
played
it. C4.
c4.
Wow.
Wow.
This is it.
I mean, India rejoice.
Well,
Wow.
so now it
You're going
seems
to
that she's
have-
winning, and it's well deserved, of course, after such a nerve-wracking battle, finding
Wow.
precise moves when it mattered.
She found it with only like 30 seconds on the clock. Incredible.
But she has made the move 40, so that means that
Yeah.
she's got
Now
30
she can.
minutes, and she can enjoy the moment.
Exactly.
It's funny. Queen f2, rook d2, d8, d2,
And then the rook on a4 is just hanging.
and the rook on a4.
And
Yeah,
you're still also threatening mates, right? Queen h4, rook d8 is still an idea.
yeah, that's precisely it. Ouch.
This is absolutely over.
Yeah, and that just wins.
Maybe she spotted c4 right away and she was just taking her time to make sure she's not missing any tactics.
To be sure, yeah, because I remember. I think it was. From Bronstein's book, Theory and Practice. So it was Bondarevsky. He had miscalculated some position like this and had avoided it because he saw like a rook a2 check, and he just in his mind. And David Bronstein gave Bondarevsky's move a question mark, and he said, "Well, this is the first blunder Bondarevsky has made in 10 years." And I went, "What?" I mean, like this kind of a tactical oversight where like the rook came in between the king, and it was a very strange construction that Bondarevsky made a mistake. But big celebrations right now, and for Kate. What a roller coaster. Everybody had a roller coaster tournament in this one.
Yes, until the very last minute, until that c4 move. I mean, still,
Right.
okay, it's still not over. Maybe crazier things have happened, but
Didn't Bibi have 2 losses?
she had 2 wins in a row, then 2 losses in a row.
Right.
Now she was still fighting for the first.
And for Vaishali?
It's been up and down as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of roller coaster rides for these ladies, Miro.
Yeah, right you are. I'm trying to check Vaishali's line score. So she lost to Zhuzhiner and she lost to Zhuzhiner. That's the only player who beat Vaishali. So she lost 2-0 against Zhuzhiner and she crushed the entire field.
Well, crushed is one way of putting it, but I remember against Tan, who will forget
the
Rook
luck.
A1?
So you need that kind of luck.
Yeah, you need that type of luck, or you could be Sindarov and just really crush everybody.
Yeah, that was impressive, yeah.
Well, I think this game might go on for a while. Should we check how Fab is doing?
Absolutely. By the way, why do you say it goes on for a while?
Because they just reached time control. So
Oh,
they're-
as
I
in
think-
that they think for 30 minutes. Okay, because I don't even see a move for
Katerina,
Kate
no.
at the moment. No.
Maybe Queen F2, but yeah, it's
Yeah.
lost.
Okay, I'm going to switch over to the Open Championship and see how Or St. Louian?
We have some fancy position here. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, the knight is on A1. What a joy.
That's something that I wanted jokingly kind of suggest, like, yeah, white could put the knight on A1 and be solid. And look, I don't know, probably Yasipenko's kind of in a panicky mode.
Well,
And for a good reason, his position looks terrible.
yes, it does. Knight on A1. If the pawn on C2 were on B2, it would be one of those brilliant decisions of putting the knight on A1 so you can bring it to C2. But this knight on A1, in terms of a future,
By the way,
has
Andre
no future.
has less than 5 minutes for next 12 moves, and he's not getting increment until move 40.
Right. Now, could you explain to me why the open section has no increments to
Yes,
start and why?
because in the World Championship match, they have the same time control.
Right.
In the Women's World Championship match, is different time control. So the candidates takes the same time control as the matches.
Right.
Which makes sense. Now, why World Championship matches have different time
That
control?
was my
that I
next
don't know.
question.
I think they actually asked the players and they voted on it.
I see. So it was a decision. It was determined by the players. Looks great. I mean,
95?
as the Argentinians would like to say, caballeros. You know, like these knights on D5 and E5 are prancing and dancing. Thing of beauty, actually. It looks
over.
totally over. What a
Guys,
bishop
what do you
B2, A3. Ugh. Sorry,
What do you think?
please.
We put the knight on C4. And then, I mean, we could win with the attack, we can do this, we can do that. How about we put the knight on C4 somehow, and then we win, we trade the queens. No, knight D5 is okay. I'm just like, not suggesting the moves, but just like, you know, somewhat sadistic way of winning it. To say white goes bishop D2, and somehow these queens are getting traded. I don't know, rook F8. There is apparently no way for white to trade the queens. It's just the knight is stuck on A1, and yeah.
You know, it's funny for me. I don't know about yourselves. I developed an understanding about knights that they love protection. Knights improve as they get protected,
especially by pawns, right?
Yeah, and especially by. I find myself attracted to the move E7, E6, which kind of liberates my queen, if you will. My knight on D5 gets some extra protection. It's not like I'm dreaming immediately of the move knight to C4. But yeah, I like what you were about to suggest, Miro. Queen C4, knight to C4, Queen D7, knight to C4. It looks tremendous.
Yeah, but the E6, now that you've mentioned E6, E6 is also cool because then, again, black doesn't have to deliver a checkmate. Black can play positionally with this knight being locked out on A1. You could go rook F8 and then rook F5, and who knows? Like getting king F7, getting ready for an endgame.
Yep. It's all, again, because you're playing not just an exchange down. It feels like you're playing two pieces against the rook. Suddenly you say to yourself, okay, I'm not going to make C2 my target because that actually justifies the knight's situation on A1. I'm just going to play as though I've got two pieces for a rook, and rook F8, F5, I like because it actually helps defend the king. So this is all going very, very nicely for Fabi, and I think he can put some finishing touches.
Beautiful position. Every piece for black is standing so nicely.
Absolutely. E6 is not the only move. I can also begin. I think if there's one thing I would be concerned about, Queen H1. Queen H1,
but
rook
he did
H4.
go rook F8 already.
He did. He started with rook F8? No.
We have a couple of moves if we refresh.
Okay, let me refresh my board. Sorry, everybody, just stay with me. We have G5. We do have knight D5. We do have bishop D2, and we have an immediate rook F8. So something similar. Maybe he's even eyeballing knight F3 and rook H4. Okay, Andre. The last
hope
gasp saloon. Some echo of the game.
The Lachno's game against
right.
Shelley.
Open A file. Bishops defending A1. Rook H4 has been played. And what move were they on? Move
31, still far away from the time control. Andrei only has 3 minutes, but time is not his problem. It's the position that's completely lost. What would you play here for black? Yes, there are many winning moves.
Well, the one winning move that's not winning, and I absolutely must boldly point out the obvious. Knight f3 is an attractive move until you see queen e6, and you just say, okay, whatever you do, do not allow queen e6. Now, having said that, what would be simple and nice?
Do you want to bring the king out, so rook f5, king f7, just so you don't have to worry about it anymore?
Yes. So very, very definitively. I'm also wondering, you know,
Do you want to trade the rooks? But
yeah, that's not that would allow the queen e6
allow that.
idea. So yeah, taking off one rook would be okay. But I love your move, rook f5. No, seriously, I really do, because that just means that whenever you go queen h1 and rook f8, I do have king f7 as you have suggested. It's strange that there isn't something.
Well, guys, rook f3 is apparently very strong, but we all have a mental block of allowing queen e6, right?
Yes.
Like, I would never ever. Okay, I mean, would consider and understand there is a check on e6, and that's precisely where I'm stopping. But rook f3, and if white was to trade the knight f3, check on e6, king f8, black's completely winning.
Rook
because
is
as
hanging.
threatening as it looks, yeah, that knight d2 is a threat, knight h4 is the threat, and the
Bishop is hanging.
The king is safe. So will he play rook f3? That would be.
And by the way, that it's very nice to get rid of that attacking rook. So just yeah, rook f5, rook f3 on the board.
Wow!
Wow! Well played. You know, this is.
Where was this Fabi the entire tournament?
Exactly. You know, Fabi has an ability to play just, you know, great games and great moves at times. And he, you know, sporadically in the tournament, he's played well, but not consistently.
Although even if he did, I feel like the way Sindarov played, you still can't do anything about that.
Right. That yeah, that's just something that's wow, kind of nightmarish. But rook f3, a really, really, really nice move, because again, you're playing a piece down, this knight on a1. So it really is two pieces against a single rook. And that bishop actually on g7 is just a monster. It's defending black's king beautifully. And when you look one move deeper, knight takes c3 is a killer threat right here, right now, right? Yeah. That just will end the game, because you're forced to, well, this is terrible. You've got to do something here.
I don't see
we do have a move, though.
Did he play? Yeah, he played king c1.
Knight takes.
No,
this is my analysis.
King c1 was played.
King c1. Okay, so he's getting out of this knight c3 business. But okay, is it time to just get rid of this rook?
I want to play.
You know, absolutely. No, for me, this is like I'd leap all over this opportunity.
Just win the knight on a1.
Well, only because he played king c1, right? But rook takes, what I'm really dreaming of is, please, I want to play knight c4. Mm-hmm. Get my queen out of the way. By chance, I'm actually defending e6 as well.
Just in case, yeah.
Just in case. And knight c4 next is...
No, yeah, this is absolutely crushing, and we know the result of this pretty much. It's just how long it's going to take.
Yeah, rook takes h3, queen c4. Looks like Fabi has got this one. What's going on, Miro, in Vaishali's game?
Let me check. c4 was answered with rook takes c4.
Rook
and
takes
rook b2
c4.
and e4 check. What's going in Vaishali's game is, I guess, a state of acceptance. That kind of, you know, because yes. It did happen. White is up a rook and an exchange. Black bishop finally comes to life, but that's all the achievements Black's going to have in this game. So I think it's game over. You've gotten this half an hour each. So one turns to spend the time just to come to terms with the situation. But I don't really see anything Black can do. I mean, I guess you win the exchange back by going queen a5 or something.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, White would have to put one of the rooks to d4.
Right.
But no, it doesn't look like any realistic chance.
Gotcha. So just
so it is winning.
Big material advantage.
It's not
for
official
Vaishali.
yet, but it is winning.
By the way, Vaishali is the last seed in the event winning the tournament.
No kidding. I hadn't realized that.
Last seed by rating, yes.
Wow. Wow.
And as you can see, so currently Bibisara is sitting with 8 points, but waiting on Vaishali's game, and it looks like she's winning. She's going to have 8.5 and finish with clear first, no playoffs.
And again, boldly stating the obvious, 8.5 was a good score, good enough to
Anish
win the
did.
women, and that's what Anish
Actually,
did.
usually in women's candidates, there's a higher score because there's one runaway.
Exactly. Zhu Jenner will be wondering how she didn't win the candidates tournament. She probably had, and I'm not joking when I say this, eight winning
Winning
positions.
positions that she left behind.
So many points on the table that she. Rook f3, king c1, queen d7 by Fabi. Queen
Queen's coming
h1.
to, the other side, yeah, queen f5.
By the way, you told
Ooh.
me rook a whole check.
Andre's doing one more thing. You don't have to take, but I think you can take.
I know, but it's like the last great act of defiance, right? You know, you go, you've opened up the H file. If you don't play rook H8 check, you know, and then resign.
What was all this for?
Well, yeah, exactly. Why did I make
But would you
this great
take
agreement?
with, if you were
No,
Fabi?
I would play
You
king
wouldn't?
f7. I just like, no. King f7, look, dude, rook f1 is
Yeah.
huge threat. And your rook is still hanging. Rook f1. So I would expect that this is almost forced, right?
Mm-hmm. No, yeah, of course, this is game over.
I mean, this is an embarrassment.
There's queen h7 still, and
Queen, oh, sorry.
Threatening
at
in
least,
one.
like, technically I'm threatening checkmate in one, guys.
Actually, how do you avoid the checkmate?
I just have to get I have to get my king has to.
It's the only way to not get mated.
Yeah, I have to get rid of that pawn. You're right. Wait a minute.
Okay.
Hold
So
on.
let's just
Hold
take
on.
that rook on h8.
Let me get that miserable rook. Take, king
King
h7.
f7.
And by the way, the king does run nicely to e6.
Let's give it a check.
Okay.
Queen g8. You can cover with the.
No, I don't know.
You can cover with the queen and then with the knight on d7.
That is kind of funny, right?
Yeah. That's it.
And now white needs a rook to be able to play rook f1.
But rook f1 is coming and
Yeah.
should be winning.
Yeah. Okay. That's very
And
good.
Fabi has
enough.
taken the rook.
He said,
He's not
okay.
leaving any pieces
Right.
hanging on the board.
So
King
we
f7.
we do
They
have.
followed our line. King is on e6 right
So
now.
the faster way of doing the same is to block with the knight.
To block with the
With
knight.
the knight, yes. You have a check, but then king e5, and the rook is hanging, and the queens are trading. So
The
this
rook is hanging.
Yeah.
The queens are hanging.
Yeah, and even without the queens on the board, guess what? Rook f1, king b2, knight b6 seems devastating enough. Knight b6, knight
Exactly.
c4 checkmate. So no,
And,
that's completely winning for Fabi.
Andre,
Fabi took my advice. and went
It was-
with
Yeah,
f7.
queen f7 on the board.
40 seconds, to make a few
moves,
remaining
but-
moves.
Moves are
But-
not hard to make. It's just that they're all losing moves.
But this was what you had suggested,
Mm-hmm.
Nasi, and it just looks devastating. I mean, crazy enough, rook
Bring the
f1
white
check
knight
and
to-
knight to b6.
Bring white knight to d4 now. That would be.
Right. Yeah, knight b3 to d4 would show understanding. The knight,
He played rook h2.
rook h2. How does that?
Let's.
deal with anything.
Okay. I say mate. Rook f1, king b2, and knight b6.
Exactly. That was what.
And he's done it. We're waiting on knight b6.
And knight to c. By the way,
move 40.
Knight b6 is kind of a crowning glory of the whole rook takes c3 sacrifice. You know, the weakened square c4, and this is like a dream, you know, from the exchange sacrifice.
There's
on
one
the
check.
board.
On
Knight
the board.
to b6.
There's
Yeah.
rook e2 only check, but he can go king f5 and no more checks, and mate is coming.
Rook
But
e2.
don't go on d5, right? I think you can get checkmated if you go to d5.
You do get checkmated in 3 if you go to d5.
Check.
Check.
Bishop e3 and queen
Queen
e4.
to
yeah.
e4.
Ouch. Our job as commentators to show all the checkmating patterns
We
at
don't
all
get to show it
times.
often, so when
Exactly.
we do, we have to.
But king f5. Okay,
Simply
I mean,
no move.
at least Andre got the spike check
I check.
to, you know, this position of flushing the black king out to the f5 square, but that's it. That's all she wrote. Knight. The knight is attacking both the queen as well as the king. I think this is it. I think it's a
He
handshake.
resigned, didn't even give it the spy check.
Didn't even, yeah. And there we have it. Well, an exciting final round, and the fight for second place gave us a little bit of a jolt there.
Absolutely. This is the final standings. Javokhir Sindarov, very deserved winner, takes home 170,000 euros. Clear second goes to Anish Giri. Clear third to Fabiano Caruana.
Again, a beautiful prize fund. The players are rewarded for a trip to Cyprus.
Bonus.
A bonus. Beautiful weather, and again, Sindarov, you've electrified the chess world, and very, very big congratulations.
And women's current standings, they're still playing, but Bibisara finished her game with a draw. She's waiting to see how Vaishali does. Currently at 8 points, but Vaishali is going to win her game and surpass Bibisara.
And as we're leaving, we just see that Vaishali is 2 rooks against the bishop, so it's overwhelming. You get the final say, Miro.
Right, since I've joined the commentary team from the second half, right?
Yes.
I've already knew how, let's say, how dominant Sindarov's performance was, but I was not expecting him to, you know, to go undefeated, to show such a sheer dominance. And once again, what we were saying, Anish had a fantastic tournament, and yet he will be remembered as that guy who finished 1.5 points behind Sindarov.
Right.
So unjust in a way. Fabi, I guess, with a win in the last round with black pieces, and when I've seen 100,000 euro last prize, maybe not, well, it is a painful tournament, but maybe something to cheer him up at the end.
Right. By the way, thank you, Miro. And here is our champ.
So the youngest participant, Javokhir Sindarov from Uzbekistan, winning 2026 candidates and qualifying for the World Championship match against Gukesh Dommaraju.
Yeah, I just don't want to overstate the disappointment by Fabi, but did he lose rating points? I suppose he did, but maybe not that many.
Probably not that many, especially with the last win.
Right, it wasn't like a complete
I
disaster
think
or
Hikaru
something.
lost a lot of rating points.
Ah, that of course. Uh-oh. Well,
None of us.
well, let's
None
see.
of us did well.
BB.
You were close, Yasser. You were very
Who was
close.
the closest?
You're actually
Well,
the closest.
none of us chose Sindarov. A lot of Zhu, Anna, yeah.
And Miro would have picked Sindarov, but
Well, I would. If you would make me, after all of you guys picked Fabiano, if you would
Right.
make me pick, and you would say, no, come on, you cannot pick Fabi, then I would have picked Sindarov. I would have
Right,
won.
right.
But would have, could have, should have.
Well, I definitely have our horse in the race there at the end. But as we close up, we just got to give thanks to the St. Louis Chess Club, Joy Bray. Her team makes it all wonderful to be here. Our production
wonderful
team.
production team. Thank you for everything you
My
guys
goodness, without Jordan, I don't know how Jordy made mic'd us up each and every day. She was here bright and early making it fun for us. So thank you to our entire production team.
So we're going to take a 2-week break, but we'll be back for the
Grand
Chess
Chess
Tour.
Yes, it's coming in May. Hope you'll join us. Tell your friends where you like to hang out. And thank you so much. And goodbye from St. Louis.
Thank you, and we'll see you soon.
Wow.
This has been a presentation of the St. Louis Chess Club. Any reproduction or distribution of this content without the express written consent of the St. Louis Chess Club is prohibited.